Hey everybody, it is January 12th, 2008. I'm Sonic Sons, and I'm here talking about mental medication. That is to say, prescription drugs meant for something wrong in the brain, or thinking processes, etc. And this came up because it has more than once been recommended to me. I guess we'll need some background on that. I don't know how much I want to go into this. Mainly because it would take a while, and I'm thinking I'll just make another video about that entirely, and partially because I kind of already made a video about it. That would be the 11-part one, which deals in part with crap I've gone through. In high school, I had a lot of stress. Should we put it that way? Should I go into the whole long thing right now? Not right now. A lot of stress just from school itself, academic pressures, and I'll probably do a whole nother video on how our education system ought to be redesigned. Guess it could be worse, I'm just saying. Crap. Could be better. I eventually started having random dizzy spells, heart palpitations, all sorts of random crap, vertigo, things like I'd drink a glass of cold water and then I'd shiver. That happened the first day I had it, and it happened like that, by the way. I was feeling perfectly fine. This is about 2 years ago. Been perfectly fine. I'd been feeling fine the last several weeks, no health problems, and I got up one day, I was at lunch, and then, oh, crap. What was that? And soon enough, I was lying down, and then the next few weeks I was sleeping like 18 hours a day and drinking a lot of water because that seemed to help a bit, and it's a very complicated thing. Saw some 5 doctors, and there's like the school nurses and a family doctor and this clinic I went to, and an emergency room doctor, and an endocrinologist, and they thought I had like a thyroid problem or something, it was eventually suggested that this was actually just because of my ridiculous amounts of stress. Which I felt embarrassed at not having come up with that theory in the first place, considering how much freaking stress I've been under. You notice my instinct to put my hand right here on my head when I'm talking about this? I do that. If I put my hand on my head for a long period of time, it generally means that I'm feeling dizzy, or I'm afraid I'll feel dizzy, so I have to like steady myself. This, of course, doesn't count. This thing I do, this is just me thinking. I'm like, I used to wear a hood all the time, which I still do from time to time. So it was nice to have the pressure on my head just to give me additional information about which way it may or may not be tilting. It was weird. We were walking, and it would feel like that. It would feel like I suddenly dropped down and then came up again. And I didn't, but in my sense of balance, it felt that way. Or it would feel like I would be lying in bed, and it would feel like my entire body had, for no reason at all, shot forward horizontally, like a foot, and then shot back again. And that wasn't all. It wasn't just the dizziness. It was crazy heart palpitations out of a thing where, like just last year, right? In my dorm room, and like I know I'm having a bad day, stress disorder-wise, so I eventually came to call it stress disorder. And I'm going more into this than I said I would. Anyway, I guess it's useful. And like, so I'm lying down. I'm like watching a movie because I have to be lying down. The best thing I can do while I'm is like watch a movie. Doesn't involve any physical activity. Because anything could set me off. Anything that could mess with the body. Hunger, thirst, fatigue, physical exertion would sometimes. The thing was always been extremely unpredictable. But there was a general pattern to help set it off. Kind of. I don't want to get into it entirely. But like, just as an example, I'm sitting there for 2 hours watching this movie, and then I watched it again in Japanese, because A, Japanese is cool, and B, it's a Hayao Miyazaki movie, so I have to watch it twice. Now, but then like 3 hours into this, I've been lying down for 3 straight hours, I'm feeling fine, and then suddenly, and like my heart starts beating like crazy for no good reason. Like, nothing at all has happened. Emotionally, nothing has happened. People are like, always like, so you have panic attacks? And I'm like, no, I have stress disorder attacks. I don't emotionally panic at all. I'm just like, oh, crap, there it is again. And then, like, after, a while, it went back down to normal. But it was still, I was like, what the freak did that come from? So I was eventually diagnosed by a psychologist or psychiatrist or therapist or whatever. I don't even know what this person is. But eventually they said, well, maybe it's post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD. Which I was like, I don't know, some people have been telling me, well, you can't keep calling it stress disorder. There's no such thing as stress disorder. Then I'm later diagnosed that it's post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm like, well, there's no pre-traumatic stress disorder, so apparently I was right all along. Anyway. So, yeah, that was the diagnosis, and people have said, well, you should get on some drugs for that. People have said other things. People have had all sorts of crazy theories about what they think I'm suffering from. Some thought, oh, well, maybe it's because your wisdom teeth haven't been taken out yet. I'm like, right. I have my wisdom teeth taken out because they needed to be taken out. They were impacted and all that. That didn't seem to change anything. I know one person thought I was lactose intolerant, just like a couple weeks ago. Lactose intolerant? Lactose. I keep saying toast. Lactose intolerant. It has nothing to do with milk. What are you talking about? How would milk cause all those symptoms anyway? But some people have floated the suggestion that I ought to get on some sort of mental medication, as it were some sort of prescription drug meant for the brain. Anti-anxiety pills or depression pills or something. Which I resisted. And this is what the video is really about, my feelings on that. These are only my personal feelings. I recognize, like, my whole argument in arguing against other people on this is, look, I'm the one experiencing this. I know my own brain. I know how it's going. I don't want to mess with it. Now, one of the important things I should mention is the stress disorder is slowly but surely getting better. It's been a little over 2 years now since the first attack. And it's been up and down. I've said before, it's been getting better, but it's like the stock market. In that even if there's a general trend, at any given instant, you don't know which way it's going. But in its general trend, it's been getting better, right? This past summer, I had a thing where I worked a 14-hour day once at this one-day job that I got. And I got through it. And I was actually very surprised. I mean, holy freaking crap, I worked 14 hours, nothing really strenuous, but I had to bring some boxes around, set up some tables for this charity event, and I didn't get horribly dizzy. I had only the most minor of symptoms. I thought, wow, that's great, But then, about a week or two ago, I had like a week, like a few days, or a few hours in each of those days, I had to just lie down, like in the middle of the day. Which raised concerns again about me, and shouldn't you take drugs? And I'm like, no, it's getting better, slowly but surely. I recognize, and that's probably the reason I mentioned the whole stress of high school thing. This did not come out of the complete blue for me. I've often found that weird when they're advertising like an antidepressant or something on TV. And like, depression is yada yada yada. Well, the cause is unknown. It has something to do with these chemicals in the brain. The cause is unknown? Forgive me for mentioning this, but isn't it true that, at least in some significant portion of the time, people get depressed because, like, depressing things happen to them? Maybe, and then you I hate to, this sounds like I'm passing judgment, but you fail to deal with those problems adequately, and it gets inside of you, it festers, and it makes you, upset and sad, and eventually you're sad because you're sad, and that makes it a little cycle. I don't know, I'm no expert.